One of the reasons why we started working with Ixia on defining this methodology was to basically put a stake in the ground and help our customers first of all prove that our equipment is very energy efficient, but also allow them to compare with other vendors.
There's definitely a shift from over the last few years where companies are working more independently to now work more collectively, because it's very hard to understand or separate some of the marketing messaging from actual product value.
The initial focus, obviously over the last couple of months, was on measurement of individual devices. I think what's going to happen next year is to gradually shift the discussion to the network. If you combine different of these devices together and you can optimize network architecture, how does that impact energy consumption at the network level? Which I think is an even bigger challenge to measure than individual devices. You intuitively feel that there are going to be savings. The challenge is how do you actually corroborate with hard numbers that people can use to then go to their network engineering people and say, I want to change this because I believe it's going to be better. I believe we're going to see more vendors look at things like ECR. I believe we have a good shot at broadening the participant base. But then I believe the discussion will shift to more a solution or network level energy consumption.
And where we're seeing traction with service providers is really more of a standards-based call to look at different manufacturers in a similar light and to compare them. So I think in the past what we'd seen is each service provider launching into their own initiatives, and that would be a Verizon, let's say, pushing its own initiative, and that would have implications on obviously the likes of Juniper and a variety of equipment manufacturers, but also Ixia, and how to conform to those standards in order to measure efficiency. But I think the model will shift a little bit because it's very inefficient to do this on a service provider by service provider basis. And so those are kind of some of the trends that we see that I think will drive more efficiency into the market.
We wanted to create some sense of urgency to come up with that first benchmark, and then from there say, we have a bunch of people interested in this, we know we have a methodology, and you drag more people into that equation, and before you know it, you have enough mass to take to an ITU or to an ATIS in the US to actually basically take all the work that you've done and with some minimal changes based on maybe requirements from other people, come up with a standard real fast. Because the standardization process by default is very slow.
Right.
So instead of starting from scratch and going to maybe 2 or 3 years of work, we said if we keep the number of parties small initially, we can make a lot of progress, take out a lot of the kinks and wrinkles, and come with a solution that may be 95% ready, and then launch that into the actual
It's a normal
process.
best of breed evolution.
Yeah.
When we started the initiative with Juniper, I think we wanted to start with a methodology. So I think what has worked well is coming together with a variety of folks, Juniper, EPA, LBNL, Ixia, to come up with a methodology that I think multiple folks in the industry can really get behind. And then from the methodology, you get your metrics. And we've obviously put forth this ECR metric. There can be a variety of other metrics that come out of this methodology. And we were discussing earlier today, it's not as important for us what is the metric that folks ultimately pick, as long as the methodology remains fairly consistent, and you can look at the multiple metrics that the methodology creates, maybe pick 1 or 2, and then finally standardize that whole process. So I think we came at it from a perspective of let's create a methodology, and then let's leave the process of getting it into standards, incorporate it into standards as kind of the next step. And I think that really helped us to move very quickly, I think over 4 or 5 months, and start to get industry and customer feedback into the cycle. And now we're at the stage where a metric can be developed, and and those metrics can be standardized. So I think it's been a good evolutionary process, but an agile process as well.